Earlier this year, dozens of homes and businesses went under the hammer at massively discounted prices as part of a series of distressed property auctions.
But while previously these auctions catered for receivers, a forthcoming auction by Merlin's due to happen in a few weeks' time will see private sellers putting their home under the hammer. Are we seeing a change in how property is going to be sold in this country from now on? Angela Keegan of myhome.ie and buyers broker Carol Talon join us now. A very good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Angela, because like auctions were nearly a thing of the past there for the past couple of years. So are we going to see regular houses now just going under the hammer?
Well, it's beginning to look that way, and I think it's good for the consumer because the consumer has more choice. And up to this year, and as you said, auctions had become a thing of the past, but we all associate auctions with, very prestigious homes, etc.
High-end.
Expensive houses that achieve wonderful prices. Where this year, what we've seen with the number of auctions that we've had in the main distressed property auctions, we've seen properties put up in the main by receivers. And I think you mentioned it in your introduction. Merlin have an auction coming up, as far as I'm aware, it's the 22nd of November. And from talking to them last week, what's unique about their auction is all the properties, albeit there will be a small number of properties, all the properties will be put up by private sellers. So that is a move, and I certainly would encourage first-time buyers, anyone looking, please don't discount the auction market. Mm-hmm. It is another option, and have a look and see what's coming up, and if it's right for them, then talk to their solicitor. There certainly are key things you have to be aware of in an auction because it is different to a private treaty sale.
What type of properties do we know? I know the catalogue isn't out till Thursday on this auction. What type of properties are we looking at?
I think we can expect a mix. I know definitely there's a very nice little property coming up in East Wall, which is, we've seen a few East Wall properties come up in auctions before. But there's a 3-bedroom masonette, quite unique in that it has very large back garden. And the reserve price, my understanding is it's going to be 65,000.
What?
Yeah, 65,000. So that absolutely will attract interest. Now, there are a small number of properties. There will be, as far as I'm aware, there's one in Galway, there'll be a couple in Tipperary, there will be a couple in Dublin, and there will be a mix of commercial and residential. But certainly, if you're looking at a 3-bed masonette, all right, it may require some renovation, etc. But if you're looking at a 3-bed masonette with a big backyard, quite near the docklands, in an area that it's not a case of if rejuvenation will happen, it's when will the rejuvenation happen. When it's coming in at a reserve of that price, you're saying to people who are absolutely in the market, don't ignore it, have a look, there just might be something for you.
Carol, Merlin we associate with car auctions. This is their first step into the property area.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, I think that this is probably one of the best ways that the market can naturally progress.
Okay.
We're in a dysfunctional market at the moment. So supply and demand being mismatched has meant that these multi-lot auctions, like the Alsop space, we've seen 3 this year, they've been hugely successful. And as Angela rightly pointed out, first-time buyers and particularly owner-occupiers have been a little bit hesitant. In fact, less than 30%, about 29% of all the properties that sold at auction went to owner-occupiers. Merlins are introducing something a little bit different. They will be geared towards home buyers. And actually, one of the things that I find most interesting about this is that it's not a government initiative. This is actually a commercial initiative that's going to get the market to a semi-functioning state again. And in fact, what Merlins have done, they've gone the extra step. They've spoken to one of the main lenders, and in fact, they're actually working with the main lenders to ensure that first-time buyers and owner-occupiers who would qualify for mortgages will actually be given help so that they can go in and bid at auction. So it's a natural progression, but a great step for buyers.
Okay, so it's a step for somebody looking to buy a home rather than somebody just looking to invest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel sorry though for the people who are selling. So is this beneficial to them?
Yeah, absolutely. And in the current market, you really shouldn't feel sorry for people who are selling because actually this is a good thing. There's 2 different classes of the people selling at auction. As Angela pointed out, Merlins will be dealing with private sellers. Some will obviously be more motivated than others to sell, and it may be because they're distressed. There's a bit of a misnomer out there in terms of properties that are being sold at the moment. What you need to remember is that if a property owner is in distress with their mortgage, and if they default or if for whatever reason they decide to surrender the property to the bank, even if they surrender the property, they still owe the entire amount of the mortgage. So in fact, if this property isn't sold, the homeowner is in a much worse position in that they no longer have the property, they no longer have a right over the property, but they're still actually servicing that huge amount of debt. Now, if it is sold, not only does the level of debt come down, but in actual fact, this is where the talks of debt forgiveness come in. Now, I know that raises, that opens a whole other kind of worms, which we're not going to do today, but the one thing I would say there is that debt forgiveness, where a property has been sold and at a much lower price, the banks are certainly being flexible with homeowners there to deal with that. So actually, the homeowners that are struggling at the moment, this is absolutely the best case scenario that they can sell their property through auction.
Because it was done an awful lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And there's certainty. People need finality. I think one of the things that's certainly holding back buyers and sellers in the current market is this uncertainty, indecision. There's no end date to it. With an auction, you know exactly what your property can achieve, and you know the date that you can get it. So it's up to the bank to comply.
Angela, will they be publishing the figures that these houses go for? So will we get a good indication of how much things are you know, if they're still falling?
Absolutely, that's one of the benefits of an auction. There's complete transparency. You'll be able to see what the various bids were, what the actual sold price was. As I say, I expect it'll be a small number of homes will go under the hammer on the 22nd of November, but it will be an indication of what's to come.
Where are we? Do you think that, I mean, obviously the market is still dropping, no matter what anyone says. It is really.
I suppose the way I describe it is prices have been falling now for 5 years. Q4 2006 was when we hit the peak. And prices are still falling, albeit at a slower rate over the last couple of quarters. But if you take the last 12 months, on average nationally prices have fallen just over 13%, and on average in Dublin prices have fallen by just over 15%. If you look at the key drivers, Carol has already alluded to it, confidence in the market or lack of is one of the key drivers. Access to finance is another. But people are concerned about their ability to pay bills, the upcoming budget. Is there going to be, you know, a more difficult tax regime foisted upon us, etc. And we also have quite high unemployment rates. So we're not seeing anything to boost confidence in the market. We're not necessarily seeing employment rates stabilise or go down. We're not seeing confidence creep in terms of people understanding what it is they have in terms of disposable income or income to work with. And I think we have to see some of the fundamentals more or less firm up before we're going to see property prices stabilise in the full. There are most definitely some areas, I've said it before, particularly in Dublin, where shortage of stock is becoming an issue. And they're well sought after areas on good transport links, 3 and 4 bedroom family homes, good transport links, be it Rathfarnham, be it Blackrock, Clontarf, Malahide, areas like that. But most definitely with 55,000 properties for sale in the country, we still do have a lot of supply.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the results that this auction brings up on the 22nd. Many thanks both of you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Now, after the break, 2 more debutantes share their Deb's experience, plus Martin feels the burn in the next in his wedding workout series. Back in just a couple of minutes.